David Sauers is the co-founder and CEO of Royal Restrooms. He's an overland adventurer and entrepreneur. And you can see he's got great taste. Look at the back there with that beautiful, beautiful purple and
I have
diamonds.
to.
And the reason I wanted to talk to David, he's got had quite an interesting a bit of experience. If you think about restrooms, it's not exactly the sexiest industry, and I'm sure there are a couple of good jokes you've had in your career. I mean, my dad was an undertaker for a while, and he said people were dying to get into the business. So, I'm so I'm sure you've
But
got some.
yeah, right there. We go right at it. The one that's always the go-to is I'm the number one man in the number two business. You know, and you know, the whole time my children have been growing up, it's all because I had girls uh, starting this business, and they were just always known as the potty princesses or whatever kind of bathroom jokes and you know I was always so worried for them that they would just get teased about with bathroom humor.
But well, I mean, they probably were, and they probably hated it when they were young. But I'm sure as they've matured now or gotten slightly older, they realize that wait a minute, this is actually it's a great money maker. Everyone needs to either drink, pee. I mean, there's a variety of things you have to do. So it's a fantastic business to get into. But you've also appeared on television. And you're an innovator, so you've done some interesting things in your particular business. And I think what we can talk about a little bit is how do you take an industry that people maybe don't necessarily take seriously or don't even consider and turn it into a brand. So let's maybe go back into your backstory a little bit and figure out how did you get into this business and how have you managed to grow it into a business where you've got quite a few of these. You've got 50 office locations around the country. So that's
Yeah,
basically all the states,
we do. So to answer that
excluding Canada.
question,
Yeah.
well, we'd love to be in Canada. Canada's, I mean, we have a lot of, I got a lot of good friends up there that would certainly love to have my product. But to get right down and answer that, how did we get started? How did we make this a business? Uh, it evolved. It evolved. It evolved from an experience that wasn't all that pleasant. And you talk about businesses that people don't really think about. Well, we're one of those. Nobody likes to talk about the bathroom. Nobody likes to discuss going to the bathroom, and it's still very private to us. And yet, that's the whole point. It's not broadcasted. It's not sexy. It's not. We want to ignore it, and that is how our businesses have pretty much thrived. Because once you go to my bathroom, you don't want to go to any other outdoor potty. You want to sit down on mine. You can take a second. You can look at your phone. You can take a breather. And that's the beauty of it. We want to do it. You want to go to the bathroom in something nice and comfortable, and that's what we provide. And that's how we've been successful.
So I'm sure a couple of folks are quite disappointed with your offering though, because you now can't shake the porta potty and get a laugh out of
And you
that.
can't see it.
And
You
okay,
can't see it either.
ah, well, let's have a look at some other brands in your industry that have kind of changed the perception of going to the bathroom. Toto, which is a Japanese bathroom, I don't know, plumbing and accessory business, is one of the few brands in that industry that are seen as luxurious and innovative and quite cool actually. I mean, if I had to go and work on a brand in this industry, it would be on the with Toto. They've got great design. There's nothing sort of fishy about it. So that's just one I wanted to put out there in this industry. But let's talk a bit about innovation. When you started out in this business, obviously you've got your regular old porta potties, if I can use that name.
Hmm.
which are cheap, and that's what people expected. How difficult was it for you to bring a slightly more upmarket bathroom or higher priced? What is the term for your for restroom? There we go. So
So
for a
yeah,
higher quality restroom experience.
right. So to elevate that experience, we kind of had to be adaptable and find the perfect clients. We had to get that test market out there, and we went the route of weddings and very high end events because we wanted to capture the people that had the money that wanted to elevate that experience, that did not want just a regular porta potty. So when we went after weddings, of course, people are in dresses, they're in nice outfits. Then we went after higher end events like your horse races, your high end car shows, your golf tournaments, because people expect something. I don't mean to say a little more civilized, but they're not expecting to use something so primal. And by breaking into that market, those people went to other events and said, you know what, the porta potty is no longer acceptable. I don't want to take my children to this festival. I don't want to go to this concert because now, I do know that there is another option out there. And that's how it was almost like a feeder, and it just kept building and building, and the word got out more and more.
So you're talking about a very important principle in marketing, which is focusing on a specific target market. And your setup expenses must be quite expensive. I mean, a porta potty, very simple sort of setup. Yours
Mhm.
seems a little bit more complicated. Talk to me about your process of designing and developing your specific offer, because obviously very specific to you. And what innovations you've made in your space, and why that's important in your in maybe your branding, your marketing communications as well, versus just the regular old products that people are used to.
Right. Well, I mean, that's a great question. When we first started, the traditional porta potty, the blue buckets, the standalone, compost, I guess, toilets, whatever, however you want to call them, the porta potties. The technology's been there. RVs, mobile homes, septic tanks. It wasn't all that real inventive. It was just putting an idea on paper and trying to see how to make it happen and how to make it profitable and how to make it a business. Also, just a plain reality. Our upfront expense is very, I mean, it is product or asset expensive. I mean, it cost a lot for us to build the trailer and produce the trailer and maintain the trailer. The nice thing is, though, is our model is based off of a rental, like a rental agency, rather than a service industry. So whereas a porta potty, it's based off of servicing units, ours is based off of renting the product and taking it to an event and dropping it off. We don't have all of that massive service. We just we're bringing the facility to you.
You started out in the portable restroom space, but it looks like the business has adapted over time as well. And since you were going to events, you've now got additional offerings. And I see you've got Savannah bar carts and airy transit trailers and Kruger bush camps. Yeah. So talk to me about how it just grew from grew from this original concept, and where you're going from here.
Right. Right. So that's you know, I love being innovative. I love kind of thinking outside the box. And that's what started Royal Restrooms. Getting it, trying to come up with something that elevates the experience of the event or just day-to-day lives. And all over the country, we've done events for 22 years. Just about everything that you can imagine, from celebrity weddings to films to disaster response. And a lot of these things that we've seen, we've built shower trailers for showers. We've built laundry trailers. And of recent, we have moved in more of a office space, which I call quick space. So it can be set up as a dressing room, as a temporary office. It could be, almost anything that you can think of from a modular perspective. It's all solar powered and all of that. The bar carts, the Savannah bar carts, is you want to bring some type of experience to an event. And when you see outside concession stands and somebody's got a tent and they've got tables out there, they're lugging coolers, they're doing all this, well, how do you separate yourself? How do you make this easier? How do you cut down on all of this surplus? Well, you make something that's a little attractive, something that already has hand sinks, something that also has coolers built in, something that has ice storage. You've got a 10-minute setup versus something that would typically be an hour or two. You've got secure locking so that you can keep your product inside and not lugging it back and forth. All of my small businesses are just feeder businesses to help in that professional events industry market. Something to make it just a little bit better, a little bit easier, but more from the patron side to elevate that whole experience.
You mentioned you've got 50 offices, and you spoke that you are using a rental model. Is this a franchise model where you have one central factory that's building all of these modular units, and you've got a website which is generating leads, and then you are sending those leads to franchisees in these different states? Or do you own each of these? What was your thought process when setting up in all these different states? Because that's a lot of ground to cover, and obviously a lot of physical assets that you need to own, and that's quite expensive because they also degrade over time, so need to be serviced and updated. Talk to me about that.
Sure, Nicholas. So yes, we moved to a franchise model because we realized that yes, we can't service every market on the professional grade level that we want. And what better model to do that than somebody that's going to take ownership of your model and wear it on their sleeve, be a leader in that community. And that is the model that Royal Restrooms took. We wanted community leaders and we wanted to provide these services. And so the franchise model fit that. Franchise model in the States is a little bit of a pain in the neck to operate because every owner has that mindset of being an entrepreneur, and they are. But having a franchise, there is a little bit of oversight, and it's kind of like you get that parent-child mentality. But our goals are the same. Our goals are, we want to bring a good experience, a good portable restroom experience to each event and all over the country. We do have roughly 50 offices, and we are in about, I think, 17 states. So not all over the U.S., but we have the lion's share for sure.
Companies like Coca-Cola, just an interesting segue, started out owning their own factories and distribution, and then they started franchising out. And then after a couple of years had troubles with some of their franchises, and then bought them back in. And there are obviously some challenges around that. So I'm sure you're going to have interesting times when it comes to the franchising process over the years. Now, you mentioned here Kruger Bush campers. Now, I'm from South Africa, and I've been to Kruger Park quite a few times as I grew up. Talk to me about your travels in the Kruger Park and what you thought about it.
That was going to South Africa, being in Kruger National Park. Having that entire experience was I mean, it was life changing. It was moving. I'm in the trailer industry, so I understand trailers. And when we went over to South Africa and we did the safari, we camped out, we took the guided tours, and the overland campers that we used, I was just in awe. And of course, I originally compared them to our RV campers here in America, which it's two totally different things. And the guides are like, "Oh no, we no cooking inside. We don't do any cooking inside." And I'm like, "Well, why not?" It's like the animals will eat you. They will come in and so it's like, oh yeah, that's a great point. And the guides are looking, they're like, you have all of this out here. Why would you want to be inside a camper? And that got me thinking. And you know, where I'm out here with my family, we're cooking, we're sharing stories, we're hearing stuff move around in the bush, and it's kind of, we were all together though, and we were all working together. We were making memories together. We are talking about things. We're not on our phones. Even if we go and travel, go on holiday somewhere else, we still don't have that connection. And I mean, that was truly moving, because back here in the States, like I said, when we do go to an RV, we go to a predetermined campsite. The RV is the campsite, which is just like another hotel room. So I was moved and inspired by my travels over in Africa. Came back here. We started building some RV campers that mirrored what we had used in Africa. And while it hasn't really truly taken hold, because it's hard to grasp something totally different, I I mean it has been so rewarding, and just, I don't know, it's like my grateful solitude place now. I'm able to go to the top of the mountain. I'm able to see what others haven't seen, and it's a little bit easier, since I'm getting up there in age now. I can still be at the top of the mountain, but I don't have all the troubles,
Yeah.
and it's exciting.
Yeah, well, the Kruger Park and quite a few of the other parks there are something else. Just the expanse of the
Hmm.
felt, and hearing those wild creatures at night, and knowing that there's just a fence between you, or a ranger between you, and being
Hmm.
eaten is quite an interesting feeling. And the meat in South Africa is pretty great. So I'm sure your barbecue, or braai as we call it,
Oh,
was pretty good.
it was absolutely wonderful. I can say that my favorite was eating zebra. Not sure if we can say that on your show,
Yeah.
but that was wonderful. All of the different, and it doesn't taste like ours. I guess that's more grass fed, so everything tasted like beef. And I mean, yes, it was truly remarkably wonderful.
Yeah. David, for people who are interested in either getting a franchise, learning a bit more about you and your business, or actually using your fantastic service, where can I send them?
RoyalRestrooms.com. We're on all the social media platforms. We've got offices all over. You click on Royal Restrooms, you'll find us, and we'll bring a bathroom to you for sure. Myself, I'm on LinkedIn under David Sauers. You can find me, and all of my different little, I guess, entrepreneurial businesses. But yes, we're here to help.
Fantastic. Well, it's been excellent chatting to you, and I just want to, express to listeners that there are no industries that there are still opportunities in industries that people take for granted. And David is obviously an example of somebody who's taken that to the next level. So there are always opportunities for you out there, and look at trying to inspire people in a completely new way in an industry that is, languishing or forgotten about. So, David, thanks for bringing that to us, to our attention, and I hope it inspires some people to create their own new way of doing something that we just take for granted.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nicholas.
I really do appreciate your comments. So why not go and watch this live on YouTube, or go to my website, kuhne.no. That's KUHNE.no for more information.